Good evening. I hope you're all doing well. Huh. It's been a weekend. I'm beat. I'm tired and I haven't done crap. I haven't even done any beta testing in the last 2 days. Um so I was trying to be mindful of Shabbat, and so that is the reason why I didn't yesterday. And then today there was quite a bit of stuff going on. Jen's dad came to visit and brought her niece, and that's what I want to talk about starting out. Um, Before we start talking about this global conflict situation that we're looking at. So it just came up in conversation, and this was something that I'd been curious about, but hadn't had the opportunity to ask anyone because, well, I don't talk to a whole lot of people. And I was curious of what her thoughts, being a 15-year-old girl, being a 15-year-old girl that is heavily concerned about how other people view her. Okay, so a typical teenage girl, right? I wanted to know what her thoughts, her viewpoint was with all this nonsense that's being pushed in schools, the whole woke curriculum. And she's got a pretty, I would say that Jen's niece is a pretty open minded individual. I think, yeah, I don't think that in any way she's like a closed minded individual. I don't think she, you know, but I'd asked her about it, and I'd asked her not only how she felt, but how her friends felt, how, just other kids in general felt about all of this stuff that's being pushed in the school systems, like this whole trans thing and all of that. Well, they apparently think it's weird. It clearly makes them uncomfortable, and it's not really something that they're really interested in. They don't even want to deal with it. And in fact, she said to me, she'd echoed to me my very own sentiments on the whole ordeal. I don't give a damn what you want to do, but just, leave me out of it. And that was kind of her attitude. And the only reason why I think this is important, I think it's important to mention, to bring up on the show, is because we really do need to identify the actors behind all of these agendas that are being pushed so hard. We really need to narrow down on those that are actually cheerleading it. And then we need to deal with it. Plain and simple. But we need to narrow down. Like, for instance, okay, I saw a meme earlier, and I don't even remember what it was, but it was a meme affiliated with the whole Little Mermaid thing. And I haven't heard one single white person, period, even bring it up. I haven't even heard anybody bring it up. I don't get it. Where are all these pissed off white people that the media keeps telling me about? Because I'm not seeing them. Do I think that there are people that are upset because Little Mermaid's black? I'm sure. I am sure there are some people that would be upset if Pepsi-Cola sponsored Little Mermaid. Get over it. You're not going to please everybody. I really don't think the majority of white folks, Caucasians, whatever you want to refer to us, give a damn. I really don't think the large majority of us give the slightest little bitty damn what color Little Mermaid is. It's a mermaid. I mean, jeez. So anyway, I think a lot of this, and I'm speaking to the choir, you guys all know this. A lot of this is it's mostly in the media. There are some individuals with mental issues that, I mean, fully go along with every bit of it. We need to address that. That is a mental health issue. Period. And we need to stop making excuses for it. We need to stop holding it up like a trophy. And we damn well need to stop encouraging it all the way down and into our school systems. But it's not going to stop if people think that they're going to get there by voting. It's not going to stop that way, folks. I'm sorry. These people don't give a damn. They don't care about your vote. And they'll just cheat any damn election that they need to win. I'm sorry, but I'm not willing. I am not willing to put my future up for debate on a vote. Bullshit. The forefathers, the founding fathers of this country, did not found this country so that I could put my individual liberty at stake over a vote. That is why we are a constitutional republic. Okay? So that no democracy was involved there. There was no taking my rights away because you could cast a ballot. Plain and simple. This whole thing with same-sex civil unions and all of that, that should have never been an argument to begin with. If they want to do it, let them do it. It's, as far as the state's involved, it's a frickin' paper contract. Who gives a damn? How about we go one step further? And this is what I vote for. We're going to cast votes. I vote for anyone that lives in the same household as another individual qualifies for their different things, whatever they may be, packages that they might have. Health care packages, insurance packages, whatever. Whatever. Right? I should be able, Jen and I, you guys know we're not married, I should be able to go work for an employer, have an incredible insurance package that, you know, because the insurance companies wouldn't be corrupt like they are today. I should be able to put her on my insurance package. Although we aren't married, we've been together for years. In some states, we would be considered common law husband and wife. But yet I can't cover her on my insurance policy. Something's not right there. See, that was the whole bait and switch, by the way, when they did the whole same-sex civil union thing. That is what people gave up, and they didn't realize it at the time. Because there were people out there that were fighting for things like that. But see, then they had the opportunity of being like, oh, well, now we'll just, you know, you can actually get married to the same-sex partner. And to be honest, I think a lot of the push for that type of, say, a policy was because same-sex individuals were trying to care for their significant other. And, you know, absolutely. I don't understand where there's such the disconnect. Once again, I was talking to Jen's dad earlier. We got to talking about this whole student loan forgiveness thing. And it had never even dawned on him until I said the words that it was just a banker bailout. See, they get people wrapped up in the language so much that they totally lose sight of what's really happening, and then they focus on some type of circus sideshow argument that the politicians and the media hand down to us. And that's how they do this. This whole student loan debt forgiveness thing, it's a banker bailout. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And everybody, yes, I'll say everybody fell for it. What do I mean by that? Because I think if everybody would have called it what it was right from the beginning, right when it was getting started, might have been stopped. It might have been stopped. Look, you can't lure somebody in to a debt. There are laws. You can't just go loan sharking people. Okay? You just can't. There are laws. And while I can't say beyond a shadow of a doubt that these student loan companies, whatever, banks, well, I can't say without a doubt 100% that they actually broke a law, because they pay attorneys tons of money to find the loopholes. Let's face it. Okay, ideally, this is how I understand the whole banking debt thing works, right? Let's say I want to go buy a car, all right? I go to the bank or the dealer, whatever, and I prove that I have the income, I prove that I have the stability, and yada, 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 so that I can pay this loan, right? And they're going to want to see this, this, and this, and this to prove that I can pay this loan. And then I get the car. We get a loan. I'm in debt. But there was something there of tangible value, right? Because if I renege on the deal and I don't make my payment, they're going to come back and get that car. They're going to repossess that car. And then they're going to turn around and they're going to sell it or auction it. I'll be responsible for the difference. Yada, yada, yada. Right? So here's the thing. As far as I know, that's how it works. I've only ever had one loan on a car, and it lasted for about 2 months. I fail to see where that happens when it comes to student loans. Where is the equity? Or is it equity? No, not equity. Collateral. Where's the collateral? Right? What are they going to do? Take your brain cells? What are they going to do? Make you do their hair for the next 10 years because you went to cosmetology school? What are they going to do? So first off, when you're giving these student loans out, you have to understand that there really is no way for you to get that money back. You can't squeeze blood from a turnip. There is no way to collect your money if a student loan is defaulted. And I mean if they don't pay it. You know what I'm getting at. There's no way. Meaning there is nothing you can take back that has value. Period. Now, you add on to that little truth nugget, you add on to that the idea that they were okaying loans for kids to go to school for things they knew damn well they wouldn't find gainful employment in. Now, I don't know about you, but something sounds illegal about that. Something sounds illegal about that. I'm pretty sure that you're not supposed to loan money to somebody that can't pay it back. Thought there was laws on that. And if you can't show how what you're going to school for is going to have a return that will enable you to pay back that loan, then how the hell are they getting the loan? I'm telling you, it's clearly not moral, clearly not ethical, and I'm pretty sure if you really kind of tried, you could find a law that it was breaking. That's what we need to deal with. Instead of arguing with one another about whether or not these loans should be paid or what classes these kids should have taken, we should be asking how come these bankers are not getting thrown behind bars, and why is the government giving them the money? How would you like to be able to be involved in some grand conspiratorial money-making scheme that the other criminals involved in whatever it is that you're doing can't pay you, and so then the government comes in to pay you? How's that? It's like being the kingpin of a drug cartel, right? And Antonio not being able to pay up, right? So the government steps up and pays it. That's literally no different. It just blows my mind. But yet they've got people arguing with one another about the kinds of classes that these kids took. And I'm not saying that I defend the crap they were taking. I'm not. They should have never got the loan to begin with, and they should have had adults, listen to me, adults, because these are still impressionable children yet. Did we forget this? Yeah, we only forget that when it's convenient. There should have been adults somewhere that stepped up and said, no, you don't want to do this. You do not want to do this. Where was these kids' parents? Where were these kids' parents when these kids, well, I want to go to school for, I can't even think of something so stupid. The classes that they had offered for these kids are so stupid, it's unreal. Where were the adults? Be like, hey, you're going to be in the hole $80,000. There isn't even a job position available that you would be qualified for with that degree. You think you might want to pick something else? Nothing. So is that how it works? All these kids get themselves in a mountain full of crap, and so all the grown-ups just gonna throw their hands up and step back. I didn't, nothing to do with it. You shouldn't have went to school for that. No, maybe we should be the adults that we are. Maybe. Maybe we should understand that these kids were taken advantage of by other adults. And maybe, instead of throwing the world's future under the fucking bus, maybe we should hold the true criminals accountable. Whatever it takes. Don't wait on the courts. I'm not directing anybody to do anything. I'm not giving any advice. I'm not telling anybody to do anything that's not legal or lawful. What you do is on you. But I'm telling you, if you're waiting for the courts to fix this, if you're waiting for a ballot box to fix this, just don't even bullshit me with it. Because we've reached a point to where we have to say no. We have to just say no. There's an article that I shared out today, and the headline is something to the effect of Democrats are saying they're not fighting hard enough or something to that effect. And I'm like, yeah, right. We're just now getting red team off the couch. Seriously. It's crazy. It's crazy. And our society is ready to throw each other under the bus because we all got set up by the same individuals. All of us. It's something I think folks might want to think about. Man, the media is playing us for fools. We need to stop fighting one another. Seriously. We need to just knock it off. You know, there is good and there is bad. That has no political party. It has no particular religious affiliation. Has no skin color. Just good or bad. Right or wrong. Maybe the way to right this ship is to focus on that. More importantly than what we want, and more importantly, what will help our team win. Because this whole athletics of life is destroying us. It's destroying our nations. It's destroying all of humanity. Nobody's winning. Nobody's winning. Not anybody within the sound of my voice. So if we ain't gonna win, why make it so much harder on everybody else? How about maybe we work together as one big team and go kick the shit out of the team owners? Just a thought. Anyway, I have no idea where all that came from, because all I wanted to mention was the conversation that I had with her niece. But, okay. Let's see. I don't have a ton of tabs open because, of course, it's Sunday and we've got a ton of headlines to catch up on. But I don't have a ton of tabs open, and more or less, it's along the lines of what I'm saying. There are so many countries now that it seems are right on the cusp, and I have a feeling that it's kind of gonna be one of those things to where momentum is going to have an effect. In other words, I think that either something like the situation with Greece is going to get sticky, or the situation in Ukraine is going to get stickier, and I think these other tensions are going to feed off of those. I really do. I think I think the EU probably not the best of places to be right now. I mean, as far as I do see war and conflict coming their way. I really do. So we'll see. I hope not. But there's definitely some situations that are they're escalating pretty quickly. And again, all of this stuff will feed off the momentum of each other. So it's crazy. You know, I sat there and I was thinking, one of the things I thought about over the weekend, and one of the things that I regret, is that, believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying this, but one of the things I regret is not learning more history. And I would never, ever in a million years believe that those words would ever come out of my mouth. But if you were to ask me, why did World War I happen? I ain't got a clue. Ain't got a clue. And if you were to ask me, why did World War II happen? About the best I could do you was Pearl Harbor. But you see, Pearl Harbor wasn't the beginning of that war. Pearl Harbor isn't what started World War II. Pearl Harbor is merely what got the United States involved into the conflict. So, you know, I think about that and it's like, I'm a complete idiot when it comes to history. And I mean, I'm just a complete idiot. I know very little of what really took place. And I would like to know, because I would like to be able to compare between today and then. I've heard many, many people say that are more knowledgeable in history say that the times right now are very, very comparable. So, you know, with different things, with like, say, the nation's economies, stuff like that. Anyway, I've got 4 tabs open for you. I am tired. And like I said, I don't really know why. I don't know. I kind of feel like I came down with something. Nothing bad, but it's just kind of been foggy-headed today. You know how, like, cold, kind of head gets foggy? Kind of one of those deals. I don't get sick easy, so I don't know. I haven't really resigned to the idea that I'm sick. But I am off. Let's see. Alright. Let's see. Okay. And I'm really kind of no particular order. And I'm going to try it one more time real quick. 1 second. I've got a thing that I normally use to control my software with, but it's not connecting. It's not working. I have no idea why. Everything else is correct. Okay. I'm pretty sure she's probably talking about the intro. Yeah, give me 1 second here. Doo-doo-doo. Ah. It's hard for me to type that far away. Okay, where is... I guess this would be the one, the actual one. Copy link. Okay, here you go, Dia. There you go. That's a link to the video. To the actual video. Yeah, I've got, like I said, I've got 4 tabs open. Just, it pretty much covers multiples of the conflicts that are spurring up. Okay. Find the right. There we go. That'll work. It's so weird using that. Like I said, I've got 4 tabs open, not a ton. I figured I'd read through these and then do headlines and skedaddle out of here. I got some things I got to do before we go to bed, so got to put some stuff up that shall not be talked about. The item on beta testing, I have to put it away. Okay, North Korea tests ballistic missile, says Seoul. And they've been increasing not only their tests, but their rhetoric. I'm telling you, I think North Korea has been busy. I think North Korea has been really, really busy. I think that they've probably been building themselves up quite a bit of a nuclear arsenal, as well as quite a bit of fleet of submarines capable of launching many of those missiles. And I think it's something that has been ongoing for a while, for decades, to be honest. Like I say, I was calling out, I know at least a decade before it became like common knowledge or known that they had a nuclear device. I knew at least a decade before that they did. I mean, I ain't that stupid. I ain't too stupid to believe that Iran ain't sitting on their own stockpile at this point. Let's get real here. A high school kid, you can look this up, a high school kid built a reactor in the United States. You can look it up. A reactor, not a bomb. I think another kid built a bomb, to be honest. I'm pretty sure there was one that built a bomb, too, an atomic bomb. But, of course, he didn't have the one thing that it needed. But, you can't tell me if that's possible that these nations don't have the ability to do the same. So, kind of is what it is. I'm telling you, it was a hell of an eye-opener to me. And I've mentioned this before, but I don't think people really weigh it, and obviously they wouldn't, but many folks don't weigh it like I weigh it, and I guess that's likely because it happened to me, but I was literally like, I don't know, I think high school, before I realized that people in Alaska didn't live in igloos. Because there was a disconnect there. Information was completely shut off. Because here I am, happy little kid, first grade, second grade, third grade, whatever. And we hear about the Eskimos and the igloos, right? I didn't hear jack shit about Alaska after that. Nothing. Not a damn thing. So I went through my childhood thinking that people in Alaska lived in igloos. This is a true story. And I think it was actually junior high, to be honest, when I found out, realized, no. Got houses, they've got cities, they've got skyscrapers. That blew my mind. There's those words came out of my mouth. There's skyscrapers in Alaska? I kid you not. Now, I look at that, and I look at the huge problem there is with it. That should have never happened. That information about Alaska shouldn't shut off like that. But that's what happens to us when we hear, whether it be news stories, whether the government gives a press conference, man, these countries are much more ready to go than what they lead on. And I don't mean these countries. I'm talking about our own government, our own media. North Korea is becoming a concern. Plain and simple. And I mean a legitimate concern. North Korea is much more of a concern than Iran for us. But we'll see. Anyway, let me go on. I've been jabbering. North Korea's test fired a short-range ballistic missile ahead of U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris's trip to the region, Seoul says. Damn it, I missed the plane. The I didn't say that. I said that. Totally said that. The projectile launched from around Taechan in North Korea's northwest, traveled around 600 kilometers before landing in the Sea of Japan, the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff said. News comes ahead of Harris's visit to the South Korea and Japan and the planned U.S.-South Korean joint naval exercise. The VP will embark on an Asian tour next week. Wonder if she's going to pop on over to Taiwan while she's in the area. I wouldn't be shocked. South Korea's Presidential National Security Council said that the launch was illegal under international law. I know, they always say that crap. Really? I mean, really. How is it that Russia or the United States or any of the other countries that, I don't know, kiss the right butt, how is it okay for them to test launch missiles, but if countries like North Korea does it, well, that's just breaking international law. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing how that works. And I'm not standing up for North Korea. I'm just saying we need to be a little more realistic here. I mean, yeah, we can go around other countries and tell them what kind of weapons they can have. Yeah. Because that makes them sovereign. I get it. You know, I'm not defending North Korea, but I will openly say I understand them. I understand Iran. What I don't understand is Ukraine. I don't understand that. Because Zelensky and his tribe is much like Hitler. Much so. I don't get that. Why are we pandering to Hitler? I don't know. That's what I get for thinking. Greece militarizes Aegean Islands, says media. This is one of the things that we might want to keep an eye on, because if this just pops off, the added tension plus the momentum and all of that could spark other stuff. Greece has unlawfully deployed armored vehicles to the Aegean Islands. Turkey. Damn. Turkey state-run Anadolu agency reported on Sunday, citing military sources. The claim was backed by drone footage purportedly showing the vehicles being unloaded from a Greek landing vessel. Athens has sent unspecified military vehicles donated by the U.S. to the Aegean Islands of Lesbos, known in Turkey as Midilli, something like that, and Samos, or Sisam, the sources said. Each island is said to have received 23 and 18 vehicles, respectively, delivered in batches over the past week. Drone footage circulated by Turkish media shows military vehicles setting in rows at a port installation with a landing ship moored nearby and its cargo hold open. The alleged deployment is in violation of the demilitarized status of the island, the sources claimed, accusing Athens of making no effort to diffuse the tensions between the two countries. That Greece did not even attend the meetings despite invitations and make such provocations show who increases the tension, who is irreconcilable, aggressive, and unlawful, the sources said. The supposed demilitarization of the islands, however, has long been disputed by Athens and Ankara, while the islands were placed under demilitarization by the Treaty of Lausanne. I'm sure I said that wrong. In 1923, Greece was still allowed to maintain a garrison recruited from locals and a police force. Tensions between Turkey and Greece, two NATO allies with a long history of mutual enmity, have been soaring since late August. At that time, Ankara accused Athens of blocking its Russian-made S-300 air defenses on Turkish military jets flying over neutral waters. Greece dismissed the claims, with military sources telling local media that the air defenses were not activated on the day of the purported incident. Earlier this month, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan accused Greece of occupying the Aegean Islands and warned the country could end up paying a heavy price. Athens has repeatedly rejected attempts to question its sovereignty over the islands. So we got lots of that going on. Territorial disputes. Still don't know, though. I don't know. I think this is a very large-scale Hegelian dialectic. I really, truly believe that. U.S. threatens Russia with catastrophic consequences. Now, it's also one of the headlines that even Zelensky himself doesn't think that Putin is bluffing. I don't think that Putin is bluffing. I really don't. I think Putin is about ready to, and I've been saying it, I think he's about ready to put his bear paw down. I really do. And I don't think it's going to be pretty. And it could very well involve a tactical nuclear weapon, or as I've said several times before, it could involve some other type of weaponry that we're not even familiar with yet at this time. Remember, they've already tested hypersonic weapons first time in combat, and the Ukrainians have been testing equipment. So I think there's going to be a massive escalation in this conflict. And, I mean, wouldn't that be interesting, though? Wouldn't that be interesting if they didn't use a tactical nuke? Instead, they used something like whatever they call the system, the Rod of God system, or they used something like a space-based railgun. You know what I'm talking about. We've heard rumors about many different types of military equipment that they've got or had or tested. And what do you do then? You know, what if they just chucked a big round tungsten rod down at Ukraine? What if Putin did that? What if that tungsten rod hitting the earth caused 10 times the damage of what a tactical nuclear weapon would have? What's the United States and or NATO going to do then? Wasn't a tactical nuclear weapon. So I don't know. I do think that this is going to escalate, and I do think that we are very well looking at a major global conflict, and I really do think that it's going to be insane. I think it's going to be insane everywhere. Just the equipment, just the military equipment and stuff like that never been seen. Telling you, there is a lot. Anyway, let's go into the article here. Oh, I could have looked up. Oh yes. Kim was talking about when Russia flattened two bases. I absolutely do remember that, and I think something similar will happen again. I think that I think they will make multiple strikes, and they're going to place them in places where they count. And I'm actually, to be honest, I'm actually surprised that Putin hasn't gone after Zelensky yet, because I see that happening too. Let's see. This here says U.S. will retaliate forcefully should Russia use nuclear weapons in Ukraine. President Joe Biden's National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told CBS on Sunday. He also declared that the referendums in the Donbass republics in Kherson and Zaporozhye regions of Ukraine had not altered Washington's support for Kiev. Any use of nuclear weapons will be met with catastrophic consequences for Russia, Sullivan said on the network Space the Nation program, explaining that the Biden administration had told Moscow both privately at very high levels and publicly that the United States and our allies will respond decisively if Russia uses nuclear weapons. Sullivan, who revealed that Washington was keeping a close eye on the Zaporozhye nuclear plant in order to lessen the chance of a catastrophic incident, the facility has been placed in cold shutdown in response to constant shelling that both sides blame on each other. And it's crazy because when the IAEA was there, it was clarified that them shells were coming from the Ukrainian side. But, they don't want to talk about that. Let's see. It says plant is still operating, however, and the rest just goes back into the history of what's all going on. So, but, again, it makes me wonder. The cliche thing you hear in movies and stuff, there's worse things than death. Well, there's worse things than nuclear war as well. Ukraine, not a top concern for U.S. voters, says a poll. But we're damn well paying for it, aren't we? Isn't that interesting? The Russia-Ukraine conflict and other stories played up by major U.S. media outlets have apparently failed to strike a nerve with many Americans who are far more concerned about such issues as violent crime and inflation heading into the midterm congressional elections in November, a leading polling firm has revealed. Legacy media gaslighting has failed massively, Rasmussen reports, said on Saturday, citing polling showing a divergence between the topics hammered most by cable news outlets and the issues that are concerning the voters. The Ukraine crisis, in particular, has been shrugged off by many voters, failing to rank among the top dozen issues and being cited as very important by only 1 in 5 Americans. By comparison, 87% of voters are concerned and 56% are very concerned about violent crime, Rasmussen reported. Other top issues include energy policy, 87% concerned and 54% very concerned, high gas prices, 86 and 57%, inflation, 85 and 57%, the economy, 84 and 55%, and illegal immigration, 84 and 54%. Hold up. Time out. Time the hell out. So you're telling me that according to this poll, that roughly the same amount of people were concerned about the very same things. Other things that I didn't hear in that list? I didn't hear anything about the LGBTQRSTUY sometimes Z. I didn't hear a word about that. No. Only the things that truly matter to the American people, which isn't Nazis in Ukraine. It's not weirdos that, I don't know, whatever. I'm not even not even going to play anymore with it, you know? You know, sometimes we just get handed a crappy hand of cards. I know I've been dealt a crappy hand of cards throughout a good majority of my life. And part of those crappy cards include mental illness. I recognize it. I own up to it. I try to address it. I try not to let it affect my life in a negative way. What we should all do. If you were born a male and you think you're a female, there's a problem there. Plain and simple. There ain't even no shame in it. It is what it is. You know, it's pretty damned ridiculous when I get the idea of how I have to accept the heroin addicts because addiction is a disease, but I can't call out stuff like transgenderism as mental illness? Really? What? I mean, really? That's crazy in and of itself. Absolutely nuts. Anyway. Let's see. Oh, wow. That is crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think, to be honest, at this particular point in time, I don't think NATO is too much of a deterrent. I mean, because all the NATO countries have their issues. So, and we really, I mean, we were the backbone of NATO. And we're not even a backbone now for the United States, no less NATO. But, I don't know. Anyway, let me have a sip of coffee. It's crazy what the media forces us to bicker about. Nuts. All right. Okay. Of course, we've got the headlines from Friday, all the way leading up till the show. Let me get a few vapes in here so I can cough again. All right. Oh, yikes. I didn't even think. I forgot to, I needed to, change my e-cig flavor today. And I literally, this is something I've noticed too. I'm not vaping as much as I used to. I'm just not. I don't know why, but, I'm not. Kind of crazy. I literally, this morning, had barely enough juice in my bottle to fill my tank up. That before, I don't know, say 6 months ago, my tank would maybe last me a couple hours. And it's literally lasted me all day. So, and again, like I said, I'm not feeling the best. That might have something to do with even less today. I'm not even sure where she's at. Where you at, Blue? What do you hear? Oh. Let's see. Go ahead and run through the headlines here. All right. Friday. UN food chief warns millions knocking on famine's door. Oh, actually, yeah, that was Friday. Pelosi declines to back Biden's re-election bid. Iranian leader's interview canceled over headscarf, says CNN. And I think that's nuts, too. They were wanting to require her to wear a headscarf for the interview. And I think that's wrong. I'm sorry if she doesn't subscribe to your belief, then she shouldn't have to follow your belief. Period. There again, you don't have to let her in your castle either. So there's that. Donbass Republics, Zaporozhye, and Kherson regions kick off vote on joining Russia. Sharp rise in Russian food exports reported. World leaders must talk to Putin and Zelensky, says Erdogan. Swiss hospitals advised to cut power use. West hesitant to supply Ukraine with modern armor, says Politico. A man trapped in elevator with burning e-scooter. That is nuts. And there's actually been, it's sad because there's been a fair amount of these scooters and hoverboards and stuff like that just caught fire. They become very popular devices. And, unfortunately, there's a lot of cheap copies out there. And unfortunately, when you have cheap components for things like charge circuits, and say the battery BMS and all that stuff, man, you don't want a lithium battery to go up. It's not a pretty sight. And so it's important that those components, along with the battery components itself, are of good quality so that doesn't happen. What concerns me is the sheer number of these devices that are in people's homes. I'm actually kind of surprised, maybe I shouldn't be, but I am, that we haven't heard more horror stories with these portable power banks. I really am. I'm really surprised that we haven't heard about more fires, just simply because they have an issue and, say a charging issue, and causes the battery to overcharge and catch on fire. And I'm kind of surprised we really haven't seen that, but I really can't say I've heard much of anything, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because once again, there's a lot of these fly-by-night knockoff companies coming out and selling these things. We'll just look at the prepper channels. All kinds of wacko names. I'm just saying that they're weird names for a lot of these companies, and they're just little fly-by-night companies, and here's what it is. Like Vivor, for instance. It's a fly-by-night kind of company that's involved in a huge market of different things, and, they're just basically a reseller. Let's see. BlackRock's, what is that, Melitopol, ahead of vote on joining Russia. Macron suggests COVID linked to Ukraine conflict. More EU anti-Russia sanctions on the way, says Financial Times. Hungary explains red line for Russia sanctions. Let's see. High energy costs drive companies away from the EU, says the media. European country hikes gas prices, says Reuters. U.S. privately warned Russia about nuclear weapons, says Washington Post. MP behind gay propaganda law volunteers to fight in Russia. Fight in Ukraine. Something like that. Exceptions to Russia's partial mobilization revealed. Sexually transmitted diseases are out of control in the U.S., says officials. Well, maybe the officials need to stop. UK consumer confidence hits record low, says study. Talks with Ukraine necessary, says the Kremlin. You know, when it comes, by the way, to this STD problem and the government's involvement in it, if the government would stop bending us all over in mass, they would stop giving us all STDs. Anyway, let's see. A U.S. carrier makes rare visit. Prisoner requested by Putin sent to Russia, says Erdogan. A major automaker to shut down plant in Russia. French firewood prices soaring. And it's not the only country. There's a lot of different nations that the firewood is just unbelievable. And I've actually heard some reports that the rates in the United States, firewood's more expensive this year. So, EU risks Wild West scenario, says energy watchdog. EU member faces toilet paper shortage. I remember those fun days. Rallies in support of Donbass, Zaporozhye, Kherson referendums held in Russia. Hungary comments on ties with the U.S. if Trump is elected. Donbass referenda will become security game changer, says Moscow. Protester sets himself on fire at London tennis tournament. And he's one of the protesters that are protesting the whole, carbon emissions climate thing. So he literally protest carbon emissions by producing more carbon emissions because, hey, that's the way you do it. Zelensky reveals Ukrainian army daily losses. Herpes could fight cancer, says a study. Now, I'm pretty sure nobody should probably take that as a way to try to cure the cancer necessarily. In other words, if you get diagnosed, don't go find a politician. Kidding. No, I'm not kidding. Not a bit. German producers warn of food shortages, says White. Or is that Welt? I don't know. White or Welt? Russia accused of war crimes in Ukraine. Moscow clarifies Putin's nuclear warning. I know it's nuclear. Nuclear, not nuclear. I know. Let's see. Putin warned decent people in power in Kiev, says Berlusconi, or Berlusconi. Berlusconi. Hey, I say nuclear, you say nuclear, you say wash, and I say wash. So, hey, it is what it is. At least I don't ask you if you're deaf or tell you to close the window. I don't do that, but my dad did. Are you deaf? Turn that damn thing down. Putin wanted decent people. I read that one. U.S. lifts part of Iran sanctions. Zelensky shocked at Israel. EU president issues veiled threat to Italy. Polish schools told to be ready for potential nuclear emergency. Let's see. Polish schools told... just read that. EU country shuts down nuclear reactor. Turkey pushes to end UN veto. EU considers ban on Kaspersky Lab. Gazprom Bank, says Bloomberg. Man, I can't read that one for nothing. EU country pledges to welcome Russians. Dow plunges to nearly 2-year low. Remember now, this was Friday's news. Palestine slams UK over Jerusalem embassy plans. Big bank chiefs laugh about their government connections in Congress. Don't you like how that happens? U.S. and allies reject referendums. Ukraine expels Iranian ambassador. Okay, now we are to yesterday. Let me grab a sip. Now, there's been a whole lot of headlines. Oh, fun. Wonder what it's supposed to get down to tonight. You know, you never know what you want to do or what you need to do as far as overnight. You don't know whether or not you need to turn the air on, whether or not you're going to need to turn the heat on. There's no way to turn them both on, so that'd be funny. Well, the bill wouldn't be funny, but let's see. 53. Yeah, I would say heat. Remind me that I forgot to do what I was trying to remind myself to do. I was going to get the heaters out today, and because I keep them back in the shed when we're not using them, but I didn't get them out today. I got to try to remind myself to get them out tomorrow. I even hate the thought of that, man. Last winter was hell on me. Let's see. UK sinks deeper into debt. Oh, I missed a couple. Oops. Okay, this is yesterday's news. NATO chief condemns sham referendums. Trump responds to New York Attorney General's fraud suit. UK sinks deeper into debt. China won't run out of coal for 50 years, says data. U.S. military using tool that captures 93% of the internet, says a senator. I've been saying for over a decade now, everything that you do that goes out over digital transmission, whether it be a text message on your phone, a phone conversation on your phone, an email on the internet, or a Facebook message, it doesn't matter. Every damn thing you do as a form of digital communications is tracked, traced, and databased. Every last bite. I'm telling you. They're bringing all this stuff together. You know, you've got all kinds of people talking about social credit score and this and that. And then they're bringing it all together. Every bit of that's going to be together. In the fusion center that we were warned about, China warns U.S. about attitude. U.S. oil reserves at lowest level in decades, says media. Biden pledges response to referendums. Hungarian FM warns of apocalyptic conflict. Airline ticket prices forecast to climb higher. A U.S. scratches off Afghanistan from allies list. Russia comments on EU tribunal suggestion. Russia's SWIFT alternative spreads at record pace, says central bank. Online classes are no solution to energy crisis, says French minister. U.S. wants to build first nuclear subs for Australia, says Wall Street Journal. Turkey comments on prospect of buying Russian jets. Turkey mulls barter trade with Russia, says media. Putin isn't bluffing about nuclear weapons, says the EU. I don't believe he is either. Germany needs Russian gas, says an official. Russia replaces top general after mobilization call. A Russian payment system hit by Ukrainian hackers, says the media. Strike kills hundreds of foreign fighters in Ukraine, says Russia. Billionaire investor warns the worst is yet to come for the U.S. economy. Iran promises appropriate response to Kiev. Soldiers who voluntarily surrender will go to jail. That's Russian. EU should welcome Russians, says top official. Britain to get more immigrants, says government. Top politician's son is detained over murder. Cannibal pleads guilty to eating Grindr date. Yeah, kind of nuts. And we're not going to go there, but it's, Ford forced to park thousands of unfinished vehicles, says the media. Russia calls out Western elites at the UN. Israel sells air defense system to Arab countries, says the media. NASA again delays launch of moon rocket. Putin signs decree exempting students from mobilization. Ukraine conflict fails to make... Oh, I covered that. Duh. Okay, we're there. Let me have another sip of coffee. Another vape. Oops. Maybe rip my flag off my microphone thing. Oh, man. Fun times. Tired. I am telling you I'm tired. I'm sorry. I know I made everybody yawn. That was just a test of the national yawn system. This would have been a real event. We would have been in bed. Anyway. Today's news, or something. Dollar outpaces euro in global payments. EU farmers warn of food shortages, says Reuters. Hunter Biden levels up in the debauchery, media says, and this blows my mind. So, I see on social media, namely Facebook, memes popping up, and more or less, and I'd seen the same type of stuff before, but more or less memes indicating that Trump is going to go to jail. And I think that's just as much nonsense as believing that Hunter Biden is going to go to jail. Ain't none of these folks going to jail. It's not how it works. North Korea tests ballistic missile. Oh, I talked about that. Russia's forex reserves maintain growth. UN made Russia sanctions promise, says Lavrov. RT news crew comes under Ukrainian fire in Kherson. German firewood prices skyrocket. Remember I said, what was it? Was it Italy or France? France, may I can't remember. One of the two, though. Pink Floyd co-founder calls out censorship over Ukraine. Nepal offers to trade in national currencies with Russia. Britain seeks to secure American LNG supplies, says Bloomberg. And remember, now when you're paying the double and hopefully not triple the rates this year, that part of that is helping to transport that LNG to Britain. And not only that, but if you pay attention, they'll boast about the record profits they make again. It's amazing. Italy holds snap election after ruling coalition collapsed. Iran summons Western envoys. UK to double military spending amid cost of living crisis. Eurozone recession warning issued. Serbia reveals position on Donbass, Kherson, Zaporozhye referendums. Germany wants EU citizens banned from top posts at Russian state firms, says media. Soviet planes modified for U.S. missiles destroyed in Ukraine, says Russia. A record-setting storm Fiona batters eastern Canada. Let's see, covered that. Thousands of firms in Italy on brink of closure, says media. Smoke blackens sky over Paris. U.S. threatens Russia with catastrophic consequences in case of nuclear action. Pfizer CEO gets COVID for second time in 6 weeks. Israeli newspaper names most influential Jew of 2022. I love how that rhymes. It just, top U.S. Democrat suggests the party is playing too nice. That's the headline I was talking about earlier. I'm like, really? Because Biden could face impeachment after November, says U.S. Congresswoman, or U.S. Congresswoman predicts. Early turnout numbers for referendums on joining Russia revealed. Zelensky admits he doesn't think Putin is bluffing. Most Democrats don't want Joe Biden to run again, says a poll. Asian country hit with shortage of national dish. There you go. Man, I have a feeling we are going to have an interesting week. Just a gut feeling. I think it's going to get really good and interesting. Anyway, for now, I am going to hop off here and get my butt to bed before long. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. I appreciate y'all coming. I hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.